Hey, I know I haven't used this YouTube channel in a while, but I kind of wanted to get back into it. And I wanted to sit here, do a really awkward-looking first video here in my car. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to rant about the whole Marvel, Sony, Spider-Man situation going on right now. If I'm going to be completely honest, anyone who is siding with Marvel at this current time is an MCU fanboy, a Disney show, or just people who can't think for themselves and think about the actual good thing that Sony just did. Now, personally speaking, Sony has done a lot of shitty things with the Spider-Man character. Don't get me wrong, the Amazing Spider-Man films being the primest example, but they've done really great, and Spider-Man 3. But they've also done some really great things with the character, Spider-Man 1 and 2, and specifically Into the Spider-Verse recently last year. And when it comes to the Spider-Man property itself, I'd rather it be in the hands of Sony than with the MCU. And let me tell you why. To me, the MCU Spider-Man has been ruined. It's not Spider-Man. To me, personally. There's no Uncle Ben, he lacks any kind of responsibility, and he's pretty much just Iron Man Jr. That's pretty much all he is. And you know, that's a running joke or whatever, but it's serious. It's a serious issue with the character. He's just nothing but an Iron Man Jr. character. He's not his own character, which is an issue. And it's an issue for me, and it's an issue for a lot of people who have grown up reading the comic books, who actually read the comic books, and like a lot of MCU fans, and love the character. That MCU Spider-Man is an issue. You have people claiming that he's comic accurate and he's the most accurate Spider-Man to date, yada yada yada. I don't see it. I don't buy it. I think even Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is even more accurate than Tom Holland's. Tom Holland's a good actor, don't get me wrong, and he's great. And they did step up and improve in Far From Home, but they still aren't getting the character down, because they're lacking a key aspect of the character, and that's Uncle Ben. And personally, I think Sony has been able to capture that aspect of the character a bit more, and a bit better than the MCU has, in my personal opinion, what I've experienced. And from the business, and now we're gonna go on to the business side of it. You know, like, why is this good that Sony did this, right? And that Disney didn't get to keep Spider-Man? Let me tell you. Let me just tell you what happened first, and then let me tell you how it was a good idea. So what had happened is that Disney wanted 50% of the shares of the revenue of, you know, our production rights for the Spider-Man movies, and give Sony 50% too. They wanted to increase their deal already. Now, their deal itself was already immense anyway. Sony didn't get any profit from any of the merchandise, so t-shirts, toys, or anything like that. So you can already see where Marvel itself was, or Sony itself, sorry, was getting their shit kicked in by this deal anyway. It wasn't a very good deal for Sony. So now Marvel wanted to increase, or Disney, I'm not gonna say Marvel, it's Disney. Disney wanted this. Disney wanted to increase their share on the Spider-Man property, but Sony wasn't having it. Sony can clearly tell that this deal isn't very fair. There was some kind of Twitter analogy that someone put out there, and it was like, say you have $100 and your friend borrows 50. Now, he said he needs 50. And then he turns around and later says, I need 500. That's kind of like how this deal is going down. And it's a shitty situation for Sony, in the fact that they were getting shelled out of money this whole time by the monopoly that is the Disney machine. And if you don't know, really, too, just talking about Disney as a company in the movie industry as well, they have a monopoly on the movie industry. The majority of movies that are produced today are made by Disney. They just recently acquired 20th Century Fox, and I think there's about 3 main companies left in the movie industry, which is, I believe, I don't know for sure, but from what I remember, is going to be Warner Brothers, of course, Sony, and Paramount. Those are the 3 that I know of that aren't acquired by Disney. There may be more, and maybe Paramount is owned by Disney, but I'm not too sure. I know Paramount has a deal with them, and Universal. Paramount, Universal, those 2 people. I know they have a deal with Disney with the Hulk, but other than that, there's not really anything going on there. Disney has not acquired Universal as a studio. So when you look at it, Disney has a huge monopoly on the movie industry, and you can see that, especially by the way the summer box office was as well. Endgame blew it out of the water when it came to sales. More people were going to watch Endgame over and over again than actually watching Hollywood, like newer Hollywood IPs or even reboots and remakes that really shouldn't have been made. But they were going to watch Endgame more than, say, something like Men in Black or something like I don't know, what are some other movies that came out? Like there's a lot, Men in Black, Hellboy, stuff like that. A lot of different movies that weren't made by Disney or made by other companies, they weren't going to see them because they weren't Marvel and they weren't Disney. So therefore people were like, oh no, it's not going to be good. They don't go see it. And therefore making the box office in general, the movie industry in general, very poor. Outside of just having Marvel movies do really well, including Star Wars. Star Wars is coming out this summer too, owned by Disney as well. Or not this summer, my bad, this holiday season. And it's going to make them a shit ton of money as well. So you can clearly see that Disney has a huge monopoly on the industry and huge influence on it too. People will not see anything unless it's Disney. If you look at the highest grossing box office numbers this summer and this year in general, you'll see that Disney dominates. Far From Home being one of them. Far From Home, Endgame, The Lion King, Aladdin, those live action remakes, Dumbo 2. Dumbo did pretty well, not as good as the other two. Toy Story 4. You'll see that Disney has dominated the market this year with the amount of money they've made. I'm not even talking about, I haven't seen graphs yet, I haven't seen anything like that. I'm just going by just pure what I've heard from box office numbers throughout the summer, is that Disney's dominating, completely dominating the competition. No one's even close to them when it comes to making money, except for maybe Warner Brothers, but even then they're still kind of slacking behind. So you can clearly tell that Disney is a huge monopoly on the movie industry, and that proves a big issue for the movie industry and for companies like Sony, who are signed with deals to them but aren't completely acquired with them. Because for Sony, let's face it, if with movies and just in general, Spider-Man is their biggest franchise, clearly. It beats out their exclusive video game franchises like God of War and Ratchet & Clank, all these other exclusives for PlayStation, that part of Sony. It beats them out in pure numbers and pure sales anyway. So Sony being able to fight back against the Disney machine and the Disney monopoly and acquiring Spider-Man back fully is a huge step in the right direction. And I'm completely on the side of Sony here, fighting back against Disney and being able to keep their autonomy as a company. Capitalism is a sticky situation anyway. I don't really agree with the way it functions 100%. It's very, not even at all, really, but just going based off of intellectual property, we've seen Disney ruin a whole bunch of stuff. Like with Marvel, they don't really completely understand the comic books. A lot of fans for Star Wars argue they don't completely understand Star Wars, which I can kind of agree with that in certain cases anyway. They kind of ruined like 30, 40 years of expanded universe stuff by throwing it out the window because they wanted to make more money by making more movies, when they could have just made movies off of the expanded, whatever. Getting off of, that was off topic. Anyway, but yeah, I 100% I'm on the side of Sony in this situation. I think a lot of people should be, and a lot of people aren't, especially the MCU fanboys who are crying over their pretty boy Tom Holland not being Spider-Man anymore, which he's still returning for 2 films. I think he will return for 2 films and then die off. I think they're going to kill him and possibly get Miles Morales with the Sony Spider-Man. I've heard that the next 2 films are going to be linked to the MCU. They're going to somehow forget that. I don't know. It's a weird situation. But yeah, Sony's 100% in the right here when it comes to what's going on here. But yeah, so this is like the first time I've posted on this in a year. I'm probably going to delete that Marvel rant, the SJW Marvel rant. That was a really bad and cringy video, and that was a really bad time in my political journey too. So this may be the first of many uploads on here, not too sure, and hopefully in different formats and better formats later on. I just felt like filming this right here in my car, So thank you guys for watching. If you do decide to watch it, I don't know. I just wanted to hit on the topic of the day, the topic of the last 2 days, which was this acquisition of the full Spider-Man rights by Sony again. So good step in the right direction, fighting back against Disney. It's always a good thing to see, fighting back against a huge movie monopoly. So yep, and hopefully through this people will see the expanse of better movies, or maybe people going to try and see art movies a bit more, better movies, better quality movies, stuff like that, instead of just sticking with the MCU. MCU movies are good for the most part, but they're not the best thing ever. They have a lot of issues with them. If you're gonna, I don't know, it's weird. People are weird. People fanboy over Marvel and Disney all the time. And they're not gonna change any differently. Especially if there's something is better than Endgame, they're still gonna say Endgame's a masterpiece, the best game movie of all time. So it's whatever. But I hope this does open some eyes just a little bit to see, how bad Disney is. But the way Twitter's blowing up, I don't think it will. So thank you guys for watching, though. Appreciate it. There's maybe, like I said, more uploads in the future. I hope so. But I'll catch you guys later. Peace.